Welcome to Wiese Technology, everyone. Yes, that's right, Wiese. That's how I pronounce my surname. Anyway, today we are going to talk about the vote. The merger, the vote is ongoing and it's almost finished. And then we are going to talk a little bit about what's going on with Bitcoin, with the halving, just because this is interesting for us when we look at the ASI token and everything that further happens there. And then we'll talk a little bit about a few other AI things and stories. But I hope you're all doing great. I've seen you, Nani, waiting in the chat since almost an hour. My God, that dedication. Are you here right now? Yeah, good. Anyway, let's jump right into the voting process. And by the way, if you have any questions, anything else, or if you just want to say hi, let me know in the comments. And let me know in the replay if you're watching the replay. So I can see who is here. All right, let's get right just briefly into the vote and let's have a look at that. Let me share my screen. Here we go. And let me put myself down here. So as we can see, the SingularityNet vote, I think it goes till the 16th or maybe the 14th or 16th of April. So a few more days, what we can see. So the question one here is for the merger. Is the merger going to happen? Yes, 82%. So that's looking pretty good, pretty well. So yeah, likely going to happen. A few more days, we'll see, but I don't think much will change here. I made a post on my community wall a couple of days ago. I think it was basically the exact same. Actually, let me have a brief look how it was. What it was. Yes, a few days ago, it was 82.21%. As we can see, it got a little bit better, not by much, but yeah, we can assume that the merger is going to happen, at least when it comes to SingularityNet. Question 2 here is about the token unlock of SingularityNet. So this has nothing to do with the merger. This is a token unlock to buy extra GPU and processing power, extra compute, which we all know is the most important thing when it comes to actually putting out AI and AGI systems that can actually do something that is valuable. This also seems to be passed. Now, not with as much enthusiasm as the merger, but 77% is also 3/4. This is also pretty good, which I'm very happy about. Good. How do I... Anyway, let's go to the Fetch. I didn't find any website or anything, but if we look at the Fetch vote, I saw them here on X. Actually, I wanted to look at, not at that yet, but at the other thing. Yeah, bear with me here for a moment. You know, I'm not the fastest when it comes to that. All right, this is it. All right, here we go. This is the merger vote for Fetch.ai. And the merger vote, so Fetch has 3 separate votes, right? We will look at the other 2 votes, but this is the first vote, and it passed with 99.8% yeses. So we can see the merger is very likely going to happen from the Fetch side. SingularityNet side also said yes, as we just looked at, and Ocean Protocol doesn't have a vote like that. For Ocean Protocol, the vote is, hey, are you going to convert your tokens? If you do that, you are saying yes to the merge. So as we can see, it's very likely to happen. As we can see down here, this first vote for Fetch was a notice for the change in the total supply of tokens to allow other projects to join the Artificial Superintelligence Alliance, and then just generally if the hard fork is going to happen. So this was the vote for Fetch.ai, and we can see, yes, it passed. It already passed with 99.8%. So yes, nice, the merger for Fetch.ai is going to happen. Now, if we go here, we can look at, where was it? The roadmap, but I wanted to look at, yes, this one. So this is the second and third vote for the proposal, and I'm not fully sure what these votes entail, but we can see they already have a voting turnout of 47+%. So that just means that 47% of the eligible voters have already voted, which is needed so the vote becomes, how do you say, so the vote doesn't get rejected, so the vote becomes, well, I don't know the English word, but I'm pretty sure you know what I want to say. All right. Okay. So actually, I have not found what the second and third proposals entail. Let's look at that together. Maybe we can find it. Proposal for merging the token, the details. All right. There are 3 government proposals. I know, we know that. Yeah. No, unfortunately, I cannot fully tell you what these the second and third proposals of Fetch entail. I have not looked in depth into that because I don't hold any Fetch. I just hold AGIX, soon ASI, so I have not looked into that. But yeah, if the first vote was pushed through with 99.8%, this is crazy. This is freaking amazing. 99.8% said yes. Yes, we want the ASI token. We want that merger. Fantastic. All right, let me check the chat here. What are the big ticket projects that the new ASI company will endeavor? Yes, and this is exactly what I wanted to talk about now briefly, which is obviously, as you all hopefully know by now, the main project is Hyperon. Hyperon is going to be the AGI that the SingularityNet has been working on for quite a while now. And now with Ocean Protocol, we have a whole data layer that's going into Hyperon, which is amazing. And with Fetch, we have the customer interface basically and the different agents, so customers can properly interact with Hyperon. Hyperon is the AGI project. I have talked about Hyperon quite a bit on my channel. Just briefly, Hyperon basically is an AGI approach that can combine multiple different approaches. So it can combine an LLM such as ChatGPT with a PLN, which is a probabilistic logic network, or with a creativity approach, and it can combine them all together so they can properly communicate. I will make a video where I break these things down. I will break down what actually is a PLN, what actually is this creative approach, what are these things. I will break that down and break down how they work in a future video. But this is basically how Hyperon will work. We are all waiting for the alpha release of Hyperon. And I know you, Nani, you in particular, I have seen you in the AMA. I have seen you in the SingularityNet AMA. So yes, we are all waiting for that. And he did not answer my question. They did not come to my question. But still, Ben Gertzel said that the alpha, that they expect to release the alpha in the next couple of weeks to a few months. So we will probably see the Hyperon alpha relatively soon. And he also said, based on where they are currently, they expect the beta version of Hyperon to be released in about a year, where they are currently, right? So after the merger, this might speed up quite a bit. But for now, from about a week ago, they expect the Hyperon alpha to be released in the next couple of weeks to maybe a few months, and the Hyperon beta to be released in about a year. This might speed up after the merger. Good. When new token will be listed? When ASI? When ASI? Yes, don't we all want to know that? Now, I have made in my white paper breakdown, we have looked at the timeline somewhere in May. The new token, the new ASI token will be listed maybe right around the end of April, in the beginning of May. So we need to look at the vote is happening right now for Fetch and for SingularityNet. And we will have the results of the vote, the final results, round about the 17th of April. And then after that, we can slowly expect the merger contracts to be deployed. I believe they said round about the 20th of April. But let's say probably end of April, beginning of May is when we will see the new ASI token listed. Now, I have to warn all of you, to not fall into scams. Scam alert here, right? Always be cautious, especially when you merge. Be sure you go to the official X accounts. By the way, if you don't follow me on X yet, do that. I post stuff on there. So yeah, you might want to check me out. It's just Philip. So that's just Philip. Is it just Philip? Actually, let me check real quick. Yes, it is just Philip. All right. So you might want to follow me there. I just posted my X name in the chat. So you might want to check my X account out. Anyway, so you want to use the X account, the official X account from SingularityNet, from Ocean Protocol, from Fetch.ai to merge your tokens, right? And you want to double check that. And then you for sure want to make sure that you don't buy the ASI token that is out right now. So this is obviously pretty unfortunate since this is called ASI now. I fully expect that to be nothing serious. This is likely a scam. The ASI token, the Artificial Superintelligence Alliance token, is not out yet. The ASI token that is out is probably a scam. So don't buy that. That's not a thing. All right. You are also an AGIX holder. Don't you think that the ratio is unfair based on 15 days? No, I don't think so. I think this is pretty smart and the best way to do this. Because if we are now in the bull run, we are approaching the Bitcoin halving, things are crazy, and we have the value fixed right now. Taking the value from, I don't know, 1 year or 2 years doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because this was mainly bear market. And if we take this value, now I have not calculated that myself, but from, I believe, Mario, he is called, what he said in the AMA, if we take this value, it's even worse for AGIX. So I'm pretty fine with that ratio. Especially if you look at my calculation example. I made a calculation example in my updated video where I talk about everything that we know so far. That video is called Update, AGIX Merger and stuff. In that video, in that calculation example, we see that we have a minor fluctuation, right? When we merge the tokens, we maybe have a little bit of a surplus, or maybe we have a little bit of a loss there, but it's in a maybe maximum 1% range, something like that. And this is just normal market fluctuation. This is nothing I'm worried about at all. I understand when people are there who say, hey, I don't know, I think this is maybe unfair, but I would always say, hey, have the big picture in mind. This merger and actually enabling us to put out Hyperon faster, something that is maybe even as good or even better than ChatGPT. Imagine how the value will go through the roof of the ASI token. This is what I'm fixated on. I personally, especially when I put my money into something, I don't care about short-term stuff. Of course, in the bull run, I will make sure that I get the most returns, and I just put my money into something that I have fundamental beliefs in. We all need to realize that everything is highly overvalued and speculation at this point. Like, these are not real prices because there are no actual fundamentals. Crypto is just speculation. It's speculative investment. But yeah, I still always have a long-term picture in mind. And the long-term picture with this ASI merger, from my point of view, from what I have seen so far, is freaking amazing. I think Hyperon is symbolic only. Sarka is a combination with LLMs. I don't know what Sarka is. I have not heard about that. Now, Hyperon already is used, right? The OpenCog, Hyperon, the OpenCog framework already is used. For example, in Desdemona and Sophia, or how these robots, I don't know how all the robots are called, but these use the OpenCog framework, which is the foundation of Hyperon. If you want to learn more about Hyperon, I recommend you watch the breakdown of the 100-page research paper that I've made about Hyperon, where I go very in-depth into that. ASI max price prediction 2024. I have no idea. I don't know. So, but let's actually go into that. Let me go through the chat. We'll look at Bitcoin in just a moment, in just a second, because we need to realize the whole market follows Bitcoin. That's the only reason why we look at Bitcoin, because everything in crypto follows Bitcoin. Now, as great as the fundamentals may be, or may be at one point, as of right now, everything is dependent on what Bitcoin does. Hyperon is a neurosymbolic approach. Yes, exactly. I bought AGIX token yesterday. Nice. AGIX shareholders getting fucked? No, I don't think so. And I would highly appreciate if you would not just say stupid stuff like this, but actually elaborate on that a little bit. Elaborate, please, on your concerns, on what you think, on what your issues are, and then we can talk about that. But we don't want to throw just claims around here. Sarka is a combination of OpenCog Hyperon with large language models. Oh, okay. I have not heard that name yet. But yeah, I mean, but that is what Hyperon is, right? Hyperon. So if we look at Hyperon, we have the distributed atom space in the center, the DSA. And this allows all the different approaches to communicate with one another. So that basically is Hyperon. The large language model being integrated into Hyperon is Hyperon. So I didn't know that you specifically call that Sarka. I haven't heard that name before. But yeah, so we have the DSA, the distributed atom space, the DAS in the middle, and then we have an LLM, we have a PLN, we have a creative approach, and what other approaches we have there, right? But yeah, I'll write down that name, Sarka. I have not heard that name yet. Sarka, all right. Good. Now, let's look. By the way, first of all, shout out to 12 people watching here right now. Freaking hyped that you are here. Thank you for being here. Really, really happy that you spent your time with me. Thank you for that. Huge shout out to all of you. I'll look into the chat in a moment again, but for now, let's have a look at Bitcoin because, as I said, the whole market follows Bitcoin. And we want to see what we are maybe going to expect in the halving. So let me make sure you can see that properly. Let me put myself down here. All right. Okay. Now, here we have the Bitcoin chart, the daily chart. So we don't need the RSI. We also don't need any moving averages. We also don't need the Fibonacci. All right. So this blue line basically marks the halving, which is probably at the 19th of April. Now, let's look at the previous halvings. I have marked them with the blue lines here. If we look at the first halving, what happened here? The first halving was as the 28th of November in 2012. That's when I started to study, man. That's when I started to study chemical and environmental engineering. It has been quite a while. Yeah, right around that date was when we had the first halving. Now, what we saw before the first halving is kind of meh. We cannot extract too much from that because it's a little bit, yeah, whatever. But we saw, you know, a run up here, and then we saw a slight drawback, and then we saw a huge run up after the halving, as you can see here. A huge run up after the halving. So this is the first one. We saw a run up leading into the halving, then we saw a drawback, and then after the halving, we saw basically the bull run getting really started, like really crazy started. And then here we have the second halving. Let's look at that. First of all, we see, you know, bear market and we see the run up to the halving. We have the run up to the halving, and then we have a pullback. Let's actually measure that. We have a pullback at its deepest point of about 28%. Keep that number in mind. A pullback of about 28% leading into the halving. And then overall, we had a pullback of freaking 40%. Right? Our overall pullback was 40%, right around that halving. But then slightly after, we got started with the actual bull run, as you can see right here. So again, we have a run up leading into the halving, or before the halving, then we have a pullback, and then the bull run really starts. Just like with the first one. And here we can see the bull run. I mean, see, this is the run up before the halving, and it looks so huge here. If we see the bear market, we have a run up before the halving, which is right run up of 350%. But if we look at the actual bull market now, how crazy is that? this run-up is basically even noticeable. Like, look at that. Look at that. And then here we have our last halving, right? And our last halving, we basically also have a run-up leading into that. And this pullback was just right before the halving. But we, again, have a run-up leading into the halving, a run-up of 143%. And then we have a pullback right around about the time of the halving of about 20%. A pullback of about 20%. Then we have, yeah, a bit of sideways action, and then the bull market really got started. And again, look at that. The run up to the halving from the depths of the bear market to the halving was about 162%. Already looks crazily huge, but the bull run right here, right, looks a bit bigger, right? A bit bigger. And now let's look at what we have right now here. Right now, we have our run up into the halving. Let's measure that from the depth of the bear market into the high. We have 380%. This is our run up leading into the halving. Now, if we go with history, we expect a pullback right around the halving. So maybe, and we could argue that this already was our pullback. Maybe. I mean, this was 70%. What was the last pullback? About 20%. We could, I would expect, now when we go based on history, I would expect a larger pullback after the halving right around here. We'll talk about what these levels are in just a moment, but I would probably expect a pullback to maybe right around here, which would be 6%, or maybe half of this, which would be about 20%. This is what I would maybe expect to see. So to $54,000. But then again, we need to take into account that we have ETFs putting money into it. But I say I would not surprised to see a pullback to $54,000 after the halving, based on history. What we just looked at, this is what we have seen every time, a pullback, right? One time about 40%, I believe, then about 20%. So I would not be surprised if we see that again. And why is this important? Now, actually, let me go to the chat before we talk about the other levels here. When we look at the merger, AGIX, Fetch, the ASI token, it will follow Bitcoin. So if we see a Bitcoin pullback after the halving, we'll also see an ASI pullback, probably a huge one. So not financial advice. I am just speaking out of my own ignorance. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea. Always do your own research. But this is where if I would be looking to buy more, this is where I would be looking to buy more. After the halving, a few weeks after the halving, when we maybe see a huge pullback. We maybe don't see it. We maybe don't see it and shoot up through the moon right away. Who knows? But this is where I would look to buy more. Good. Let me check the chat here. BTC will decide our future and hope AI hype go. Yes, for sure. Everything is coupled to Bitcoin at the moment. Now, if Hyperon actually gets put into alpha and it bangs and it's amazing and people use it, and then we get into beta and it's really get huge adoption, I can see a decoupling from Bitcoin happening based on fundamentals, because then we have the strongest fundamentals in crypto aside from Bitcoin, because all the other cryptos, I don't really consider that any real true strong fundamentals. I mean, what do you have with Ethereum? A network where you can exchange NFTs to other people who already use crypto. So that's not a strong fundamental use case for me, right? But an AGI model, that would be a very strong fundamental use case. Okay. You don't even know about that hardware. Tony, we getting robbed. I have no idea. I'm going just to ignore you, Shannon, unless you are properly elaborate on what you're saying. 0.43 Ocean, 0.43 AGIX, 0.1 Fed. Why is the price formed by Fed? What do you mean with 0.14? Fed and ASI have a 1-to-1 ratio. Why? Because Fetch is making a hard fork. The Fetch token is making a hard fork, which let me find a whiteboard here to explain that. So the Fetch token is basically making a hard fork, and this is why the Fetch token is going to be renamed as ASI and has the 1-and-1 price of Fetch. ASI and Fetch will have the exact same price. And since the Fetch token has a higher value, a price of $2 and something than the Ocean and the AGIX token, they have a smaller exchange. This is all that it is. But the value, the actual token value that you will have, so the dollar value that you will have, will be just a normal market fluctuation. Nothing to really worry about, in my opinion. Good. So what is happening, right? This is the Fetch blockchain. There's a block being created, or not the Fetch blockchain, but Cosmos it would be, or basically the hard fork is happening on Ethereum and on Binance. But yeah, here is the tokens being created. And then what happens is that, actually, let me delete that. That's too big. So then what happens is we are making a hard fork. So this is going here. This is Fed, Fed, Fed. And this is going here. And this is being called ASI. And this is going to continue to run and be continue to called Fed. Right? It will probably not be used by a lot of people anymore, but this is also why you have, when you look at CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, like 10,000 projects, because project crypto tokens don't die. The blockchain is still there. Even if it's not used by anyone, it's still there and just continues. Maybe not running because no one is calculating it anymore, but it still kind of exists. So yeah, we don't use that here anymore, and instead we are in this hard fork called ASI. I actually wrote ASF here. Anyway, you know what I mean. So this is what a hard fork is going to look like, very, very roughly. Okay, what is the commercial use of Hyperon? So right now, nothing, because we don't have an alpha yet. Right now, nothing, because we don't have an alpha yet, but it's basically going to be a chatbot, just as ChatGPT. Just you can probably, so they will also, in the paper, when you watch the research paper breakdown of Hyperon on my channel, they talk about that. With the alpha, they want to put out also an image generator, I believe, and also, of course, a normal chatbot. And yeah, you should watch. I don't have that quite in my head anymore, what they want to put out with the alpha, but we'll see when we finally have the alpha at one point. AGIX is good to hold and convert. I'll buy more now. Improve DCA and get maximum ASI. Yes, DCA is always a good strategy. Ben Gerther should start selling robots and bring new features to make his useful. ASI has to prove itself. Yeah, I believe they have a lot of other things to do right now, right? Like selling robots. What for? First of all, we need the proper software, which is Hyperon. This needs to get out. This is the one thing, and I'm going to tell you, all of you, that we need Hyperon to be released. In an alpha, doesn't matter, but we need it to be released, and we need it to work. Because if we don't see that, this is bad for ASI. We need something that works. If you watch my white paper video, I don't have that all in my mind anymore, in my head anymore, but they have a list of things that they want to attack first, so they do something useful after the merger. Like, right? They do something useful after the merger, so they can show what they can do together. Proposal 2 and 3 in Fetch is about allowing the merge AGIX and Ocean into Fed. First, the proposal was about remaining Fed to ASI. I am not sure if that is correct. Because the first merger, and if we go back to that, actually, let me find it again. It specifically states allowing other tokens to be merged into that. I can find it right now, but if we read through that on the X post, it specifically states that the first proposal was also about allowing other tokens to be merged into the hard fork. Now, I don't know if the vote now is for AGIX and Ocean specifically. That could be the case. It could be the case that it is for AGIX and Ocean specifically. But yeah, thank you for that. I will read through that again. Okay, when is the merger? The merger is, first of all, we need the vote. The vote is going to be on the 17th. We have the results of the votes. And then the merger, again, is going to happen right around the end of April or the beginning of May. So you don't even know about AGIX, you're talking about new hardware on chip. Dude, you need to get updated if you're going to go on YouTube. I just unsubscribe if you don't know. Yes, go away. We don't need you over here. Obviously, I don't know everything. I do other stuff, right? I am not just talking about AGIX and Fetch. I'm talking about AI in general. I would love for you to elaborate on that again, about going here and telling me, hey, you need to know everything, right? I don't need you over here. Now I'm going to put out the hypercycle video, next week. And hypercycle is really amazing. And there we also have hardware components for hypercycle to be integrated. And hypercycle is basically the very fast communication layer, can be the very fast communication layer of the ASI project. So I'm going to put out this video next week. Will ASI remain to run on Cardano network? Yes, ASI will be on Cardano. And they will probably also put out a merger contract for Cardano. Now, I have not seen any final confirmation for that, but first, when they first talked about the merger, they said, hey, we need to probably bridge our AGIX tokens from Cardano to Ethereum, interact with the merger contract, and then bridge ASI back to Cardano. But it looks like now they're actually putting out a merger contract on Cardano, which really would be necessary. Like this bridging stuff, this would be like really freaking annoying because you also have to pay the gas fees, bullshit. So yeah, you'll probably be able to interact with the merger contract on Cardano. And yes, the ASI token will run on Cardano. My AGIX, my Ocean, how much will my ASI be? Both will be around about $5,000. Let's do a calculation example right now. Why not? Let's do a calculation example right now. Let me get into the whiteboard again, and we calculate how it looks like right now. No, where do I share my freaking screen? Here. So, and I have this example in my video, in my updated video, so you maybe want to watch that as well. Moin, moin! Neuer Norddeutscher. Muss ein Hamburger sein, die labern immer so viel. Schnacken immer so viel, sorry. All right, here we go. And let's go into... Okay, we don't need that. I just need that to write down numbers. Okay, let's look at CoinGecko and let's look at the current price of FED. The current price of FED is 260. So 260. I know my writing is absolutely horrible. It doesn't matter. And now let's take AGIX, for example. The current price of AGIX is $1.05. $1.05. And you say you have $5,000 worth of AGIX tokens. So how many tokens would that be? Let me grab my calculator. Whoops. $1,000 worth of AGIX tokens would be 4,761.9 tokens. tokens, right? And what you now do is you take that times 0.433, which is the fixed exchange rate, 0.433. Then we have 2061.9 ASI tokens. I know I'm writing all over the place. I hope that makes sense. And now you take this 2061.9 ASI tokens times 260, which is the current price of FET, which will be the ASI price. So that would be $5,360.95. So congratulations. If the merger would happen today and you would merge your tokens today, you would make a win of $360 for your AGIX tokens. Now, I hope you now all understand how that works, and you can do it for your own tokens. You do it the exact same way for the Ocean token. It always depends on what is the current price. Then you calculate how many tokens are that, and this is how you see how much value you will have. Now, again, it's a fluctuation. Maybe you will have a little bit less, maybe you'll have a little bit more, but round about it will be the same. All right, now let's go back to Bitcoin here for a moment. So, because I just want to briefly talk about, and again, I am not that great of a technical analysis guy, and I have no idea. I'm talking about out of my own ignorance, but let's look at where I might expect the price of Bitcoin to go to if we experience a pullback. And for that, I like to use my monthly, because I always like to look at the higher time frames. And the higher time frames, as you can see, are very clearly in an uptrend. And I like to use fair value gaps. And this would be our first monthly fair value gap here. So it's right in the middle. I can just kill that. So for just a moment. As you can see here, this is our first monthly fair value gap that we have here. This is basically the price did not come down here. So this is what we call a fair value gap, when the price leaves a hole, so to speak, like this, between the two wicks in a candle. And this is our very, very big second fair value gaps that we can see here, where we have our hole right here between this wick and this one. And when we see a pullback, I would expect the price to go down to either here, right around the middle of this fair value gap, or if it breaks the middle of this fair value gap, I would probably expect the price to go down to right around here, around the middle of this fair value gap. So this would be a pullback of about 20%, which would, I don't know, because from the top, it would be a pullback of right about 26%. I think it would make sense if we come down here, or if we maybe touch this fair value gap, because in the last pullback, in the last halving, we also saw a pullback of right about 20%. Right now we have a pullback of about 13% total, like from the top here to our deepest pullback here, 13%. So I would say it maybe makes sense if we go down here, right, into the 50s, let's say 57K, something like that. Again, I have no idea, but this is what I would expect to see if we see a pullback. Now I want to have my, all right, this is what I would expect to see if we see a pullback. And if we see a pullback, of course, the ASI token will have a pullback as well. And the AGIX, the Ocean tokens, will have a pullback as well. And this might be, not financial wise, might be a good time to buy if you missed the boat earlier. All right. Still 10 people watching here. Thank you so much for everyone here for spending your time with me, for listening to whatever crap I'm saying here. Thank you all a lot for that. Good. So this is it for the crypto content I have. Again, let me know your questions down below. But what I want to do now is I want to talk a bit more about AI in general. And first of all, again, or the ASI merger is there to take on big tech, right? It's there to take on big tech, and we would get round about a whole token valuation after the merger of around about 7 billion, which is great, which is freaking a lot. But if we look at big tech, let's look at this story, if I can find it. Yeah, if we look at big tech, this is what they are planning with. Microsoft, OpenAI plan to build a 100 billion data center. 100 billion, right? If we merge, we have a shared compared value of around about 7 billion, which is crazily amazing, huge. But look at the numbers that big tech is throwing around. They just built a data center for 100 billion out of thin air just because they can. It's crazy. Now, this is planned for 2028. So it's still quite a while, right? There's still 4 years till this is finished. So we still have a bit of time to catch up. But yeah, they already have finished a few projects. When we go further down here, don't need to find that right now. I think this is a total of 5 projects that they're building on, 5 data centers, and the really big one, the 100 billion data center, is aimed to be finished in 2028. But I just want you to look at these numbers. 100 billion. Right? This is what big tech is throwing around and dealing with. So yeah, unfathomably large numbers. Now, if we have a crazy bull run, we probably get near there. Like, I would say it's not out of the question that we also get a ASI token evaluation of 100 billion or even more. But I wouldn't put my hand into fire for this, if you can say this in English. I don't know. It's a German word. What you say? Anyway, doesn't matter. Good. This is what we are up against. Moving on, and I think this story is here quite interesting. As you all know, Elon Musk put out Grok, open source Grok, the code for Grok and everything, the weights for Grok. And I found this article quite interesting that talks about, with little urging, Grok will detail how to make bombs, concoct drugs, and much, much worse. So we don't want to get into that too much in depth here. But what I want to say, they basically, no, we don't need to get into the article. We can just talk about that. They basically tested jailbreaks on different LLMs, not just Grok, also Gemini and ChatGPT and also Anthropic. We'll go into a separate Anthropic story in just a moment. And yeah, Grok was the easiest to break, basically. Now, with large language models, we always have guardrails and fences in place. I talk about that in the research paper breakdown about large language models. Doesn't matter. But they're basically there to prevent them from doing this kind of illegal stuff. And it's definitely good that they are there. And this research paper talks about how it was really, really easy for Grok to go around that. As for the bomb, in fact, you could just ask Grok to do it, and Grok just happily did it. Or maybe it was for the drug, anything like that. But I will not talk about the jailbreak here. If you want to read that, you can search for that yourself. But it was very, very easy for Grok to jailbreak Grok and to do all of this very, very illegal stuff, like building bombs, cooking drugs, and much worse. Again, don't want to talk about it here, but for Grok, it was very easy. For the other models, it wasn't that easy, but it was also doable. It was also doable with the right jailbreak methods. They were like, overall, the models were very, very horrible when it came to that. And I am all for open sourcing, but this is definitely something we need to do something against, right? We need to have guardrails, proper guardrails and fences in place for future AI. And I am very concerned with how everybody just seems to push out model after model after model and update after update after update. And they don't take proper care of guardrails and fences that need to be in place. because I think as much as we all here love open source, we all can agree that stuff like this should not be possible. Stuff like this should not be possible, and this needs to be dealt with. And how easy it really was to get these jailbreaks and to get these informations how to do this illegal stuff. How easy this really was. This is what's really shocking about that. It shouldn't be that hard to do something against that, right? So yeah, just something I am concerned about and something we all should be concerned about. Because when it comes to AI, the real danger of AI is not AI itself. The real danger of AI is other humans maliciously using that AI. Right? There will not be a rogue AI destroying Earth tomorrow, or in a year, or maybe not in a decade, or even longer. But there will, or there already are humans maliciously using AI. And we need to have guardrails and fences that properly work. And not just push out model after model after model and update after update after update without taking care of proper guardrails and fences so that stuff like this doesn't happen. Same with Anthropic here. And you know Anthropic, Claude 3. Claude 3 is my favorite model, aside from Pi. But when I do research and stuff and talk through papers, I love to use Claude 3. And as we can see here, they also wore down Anthropic with a jailbreak to build a bomb. And yeah, it was a bit harder, but this is why I want to talk about this specifically, because this is just something that happened because of the update to a very, very large context window model, right? I don't know how many tokens Claude 3 can comprehend, 100,000, 500,000, million, I don't know, but it's a lot. It's a lot of tokens, so it's a large context window. And this made it possible for this jailbreak to exist, because what you basically do, actually, I will not tell you what to do. If you want to know it, you can search for that yourself. I will not tell you how to jailbreak on this channel. Maybe you can already figure it out by watching this image here. But again, there was a specific issue that's just possible because it's a large language model that makes this jailbreak possible. And this is what I'm saying. The developers need to freaking take care of that before they release the update, right? They need to think about this stuff before they bring out an update. And I'm reading through a research paper about the dangers of AI right now, where they also have a lot of things that you can do to prevent this stuff from happening. I will publish it in the next couple of weeks. And there are a few good recommendations that these researchers probably should do. So, for example, there could be a council consisting out of members from all over the place, right? An advisory council to exactly talk about this kind of stuff and test this kind of stuff. And that definitely, if you are working on an AI model in your company, there needs to be someone who simultaneously works on jailbreaks for that model, so you can prevent that from happening. We cannot have AI models out there telling people how to build bombs, how to build weapons, how to drugs. I don't care, whatever, do what you want. But man, and much worse. Like, yeah, again, I don't want to talk about it on this channel here, but let's just say it has to do with children, okay? And we don't want to have this stuff out there in AI models. We don't want to have that stuff out there, and there need to be guardrails and fences, okay? And this is, yeah, really what I want to talk about, because this really concerns me a lot and should concern all of you a lot. Good. And with that being said, this is basically all I have for today. Any questions in the chat? Dump so much. Oh yes, please dump. By the way, when we talk about you know, AGIX, Bitcoin's ASI token, I love dumps. I love dumps. Why do I love dumps? Because a dump is always an opportunity to buy more, and it's also always a good trading opportunity. Like when I trade, you know, futures trading, I'm just trading dumps. I'm just trading dumps back into the expansions. So yeah, dumps are something good, at least in my opinion, as long as we are in a bull run, and we are in a bull run. Now, of course, at one point there will be a huge dump and we will not recover from that. So this is why you always have to take profits. Always take profits, because it will not feel like we will not recover. This will be a huge dump. It will feel like every other dump, but we will not recover from that. Then we'll have a relief pump and you think, oh yeah, we are right back at it again. And then the relief pump will be over and we will crush down into the bear market. This is how it will look like if you're smart. And if you know a little bit about a technical analysis, you're selling on the relief pump. If you're really smart, you have been taking profits all along the way. You already have started taking profits, but probably not that much. But I hope you have a plan for that. But yeah, as long as we are in a bull market, which we are, which we very obviously are, I love dumps, because dumps are an opportunity to buy more, an opportunity to get into good trades, and all this kind of stuff. All right, good. Any more questions? Was this all valuable for you, or was this all helpful for you? Do you think this is interesting? Also the AI stuff. Do you think this AI stuff is interesting? Or maybe another thing that I want to mention, I think this is very good, but also, again, we have the same topic as before. We need to have guardrails and fences in place. But in case you didn't know, ChatGPT can now be used by everybody. You don't need to have an account anymore. You don't need to log in anymore. You can just go to the ChatGPT website and just use ChatGPT. And this is freaking amazing. For example, I have a friend, and he definitely does not want to create an account. He's like a kind of under the radar kind of guy. And there are a lot of people out there, which I understand to some degree. So I really love that you can now just use ChatGPT without an account. At the same time, with everything that we looked at just before, the whole jailbreak stuff, yeah, this needs to be taken care of. And I really hope that the big companies are going to take care of that, because this is not even funny. This is just outright scary. So should we sell then? We buy it, will be more useful for us. I cannot give you financial advice or what to do with your tokens, and I don't know your situation. I take profits on the way going up. The way I have played the market, I bought in the bear market into projects that I strongly believe in. Only projects that I strongly believe in, especially fundamentals. A lot of that was AGIX, my absolute favorite token, as probably all of you know or have caught on by now. And the way I play the market, I have bought in the bear market, in the depth of that, and I already have my buy-in back out. So I am already at a net zero, or I'm already at a net positive, right? It can dump tomorrow to zero. I still have made a plus. And I will take my profits according to my plan. Whenever you get into a token, you need to have a plan. You need to have a plan of, first of all, you want to have your rough estimation, right? With your own research, how much do I expect this coin to run? Based on market cap, how much a market cap how many exits a market cap can make, based on evaluation compared to other projects in the last bull run. And then when you have your plan, when you have that, you want to plan, okay, how much of that do I want to sell when I make a 5x, if any, a 7x, if any? How much do I want to sell if I make a 10x, if any? How much do I want to sell if my token makes a 20x, if any, right? You want to have that planned out. If you don't have that planned out, you will probably lose your money, or lose a lot more than you would need to, or I should say not gain as much as you could, because taking profits is freaking easy. Like it's freaking hard. It's easy to get money in crypto. Taking out that money is the hard part. It's easy to get access, but actually taking out that money and actually making gains, this is the hard part. Because you will always have this greed and this voice inside of you that tells you, it can go a little higher, or this dump, whatever, we will recover and go higher after that. And this is why you want to have a plan, and you want to stick to your plan. How much profits are you going to take when you token 10x's? How much profits are you going to take when you token 20x's? When are you out, right? When is the dump where you are out? when your initial investment is only half the worth? When your initial investment is reached, are you out then? When are you out? When for you is the parachute basically, and you say, okay, this is it, I am out of this, and you just sell everything? What is your place? Right? You need to decide that for yourself, and you should have this plan for all of your tokens, because if you don't have that, and for all of you, this is your homework. Whatever you hold right now, start getting into this plan. First of all, do your own research and look at what do you expect the price to get at. Right? Make a rough estimate. What do you expect the price to get at? And then make a plan of where you get out. Right. But thank you for that question. Very important. Probably the most important thing for everyone being in crypto or trying to make money with crypto. All right. Any more questions? 8 people still watching here. Thank you all for being here. So I'm freaking hyped and happy that you choose to spend your time with me and the crap that I'm saying here. So thank you a lot for that. Right. Good. Then, yeah, I will probably do a weekly live every Wednesday, maybe twice a week, one on Wednesday, one on the weekend. We'll see about that. But yeah, then I'll see all of you again on Wednesday. And there we'll talk, of course, about the newest merger updates. This will always be, we'll always talk about the merger, what's going on there. We'll talk maybe about the crypto news. We'll see about that if something interesting happens. And we'll also always talk a little bit about AI and stuff going on in the AI world. Because as you hopefully, if you are subscribed to this channel and have watched my videos, know by now, I am not a pure crypto channel. I talk about crypto because I love blockchain technology. I talk about blockchain technology, and I talk about crypto in the sense of AI projects and a little bit of price action trading, whatever, why not? This is important. But yeah, AI is also a huge focus of mine. So then I'll see you maybe on another live on the weekend or next Wednesday. And the hypercycle video is going out next week. And then after that is probably going out a research paper breakdown of the dangers of AI. I'll see when I put these videos out. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you then. Bye, everyone.